Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Esther and today I'm going to be talking about my first term uni experience at Cardiff University. Apologise for the train tracks. I live outside train tracks and there's a train passing by right now, so we're gonna wait for that to end. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Leave a like, comment, ask me any questions you want about Cardiff University or even the first term experience, and yeah, let's get straight into this video. So the first thing I do want to say is that obviously it is currently January of 2022 and I haven't completed my first year, so this is a halfway point review for the moment. I will be uploading another video about my first year experience fully after I've completed it, but for now this is going to be the midterm review and you are going to get the tea. And I hope you can take some of the advice and wisdom from my mistakes, my learning curves, what I've seen at uni, and take it in and just prepare yourself for uni for 2022 or whenever you do start uni, or if you're going into second term, first term, whatever it is. The first thing I do want to mention is drinking and clubbing. It's quite a big thing at uni, especially at Cardiff Uni, just because a lot of the drinks are very cheap, just because the living expenses are relatively cheaper compared to London, and a lot of students are attracted to Cardiff because of its low beverage prices. I believe it's somewhere on Student Beans, it's basically everywhere. And for me, if you guys don't already know, I am a Christian and I don't drink, and that is a personal choice. I mean, I've tried it before and I really just hate the taste of alcohol. If you love the taste of alcohol, how do you actually like it? But for me, because I don't drink and I know the clubbing scene is not my scene, stay true to yourself at uni. Just because a lot of other people are drinking, clubbing, doesn't mean you have to. And there was a point in time where I was so close to doing it because, you know, a lot of people around me were, but I even bought the ticket and everything. But just because other people are doing it doesn't mean you have to do it, and just because the majority of people are doing it doesn't mean it's like the right decision for you. For me, at least from my experience and from what I've seen around me, clubbing and drinking tends to be like their socializing factor at uni, especially in first term and in first year. Everyone's always like, oh, are you going to this prees, or are you going to this party? But me sticking up for myself and sticking up for what I value and my morals and whatever, you know, things I have, I did not want to go clubbing, didn't want to go partying. So you would see me literally, even for the Law Society thing back in my first vlog, I believe, I'll link it up here somewhere there, I don't know, but I showed up to a bar in a tracksuit and I didn't even realize it was going to be that kind of motive. Had I known, I wouldn't have turned up. But regardless, that is it. But because this is like the main socializing point for a lot of first year uni students, it has been a bit harder for me to meet people because my course has been online. So I've had pre-recorded lectures which are online, which you can watch in your own time. There are pros and cons to that, but I will get into that later. And because I was doing a joint honours degree, law and criminology, I would be meeting the same 10 to 15 people in my seminar group, and it just doesn't help when you're in a completely new city, you know, in completely new environment, even country, and you don't know that many people, and the main socializing point for a lot of these people is drinking and clubbing. But regardless of how tough it was, I stuck to what I knew that I would be comfortable in and what I knew would work for me. So don't worry if you're a Christian, if you're a Muslim, if you don't drink, whatever, if you want to keep it holy, if you want to, I don't know what it is, but if you don't drink, trust me, you can make friends, you can enjoy your time, and I'll get onto that later. The thing is, like, I'm going to speak specifically from a Christian perspective. It is hard not to participate in this clubbing and drinking thing, especially when you actively say that you don't drink. A lot of people have asked me like, oh, why don't you drink? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Like, are you pregnant? Like, Excuse me? Just because I don't drink doesn't mean you're not the like fun of your life. There's other things to do, but it is hard just because that makes you stand out a bit more. Thing is, at the law social that I mentioned earlier, I did meet, like, God willing, I was able to meet people that were not on that drinking vibe, on that clubbing vibe, and I was able to suss them out and find them very easily because you can see on their faces. It was just nice to all agree that we didn't want to join in on this drinking thing, we weren't on the vibe, and we ended up going to Taco Bell, whatever you want to call it, instead, getting some food and just talking there and getting to know each other more, our spiritual beliefs and all of that. So it was great. So don't worry if you won't find these people. You definitely will. At every motive, at every single event, there will be people that do not drink, that do not do clubbing, that are just chill people that can have fun and do all of that whilst being sober. Personally, I love it when I'm able to hold and have a conversation with someone whilst they are sober. I believe this is just a better way of getting to know another person whilst they still have their boundaries up, because that is the best way to know a person, and just have an engaging conversation. If you can't hold a conversation with someone that is sober, then I don't know for you. If the only time you can really talk to them is when they're drunk, that is telling you something about that friendship, about that person, or something about you, my friend. So start evaluating your life now. So that is all I have to say for drinking and clubbing. It really isn't for everyone. If it is for you, then fair enough, you do you. Make sure you know your limits. Like, I know people that are going there blackout drunk. I don't know what the experience is, but I'm praying for you, God. So the second topic I want to talk about is friends. Now, some people during their first term, first year of uni, find their friends. They're like best friends for life, and they're just talking to them every single day. And you know what? I'm so happy for you. Like, wow, God blessed you, innit? But don't be surprised if you don't find your friendship group within the first week, or even first month, or even first term of uni, because, you know, uni is a big place and there are plenty of people to be met. And don't rush into friendships just because you feel lonely. I'm saying this because it's difficult when you become friends with everyone and you know for a fact that if it wasn't for a certain situation, you wouldn't be friends with them or you wouldn't be associating with them. So when you are making friends, when you are networking, when you are connecting with people, keep that in mind and always have your boundaries up. And it's not to say that you shouldn't share information about your life, experience, advice and all of that, but be careful who you keep around you, and especially in your friendship circle. I understand that uni can be an isolating place, especially if you're moving into a new city, but don't just make friends with anyone, because you don't know what intentions or what spirits they have with them. And that's why I would say the best thing to do is to pray about this and to have your friendship boundaries up and meet these people. Obviously be friendly, be nice, be whatever, home training please, but being my friend is a privilege, and that's how you should keep it. Because even in the Bible, in Proverbs somewhere, it says, as iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. And so you need to be careful around the people you are hanging with. Personally, from my experience, I'll be talking about this much later on, but if all your friends are smoking or they're encouraging you to smoke, then naturally you are going to smoke as well. Drinking, same thing. Participating in activities that you know you wouldn't be comfortable in a normal situation. Friends can really have an impact on your life, and you need to be very wise with who you let in. Another thing is 1 Corinthians 33 to 34. So basically I have like a wall of post-it notes of scripture, and so that just helps me keep in check, or sometimes when I'm just looking around my room I can just have scripture around me and really remind myself, like, you need to focus on God. But 1 Corinthians says this: bad company corrupts good character. And then so my takeaway from this is think carefully about what is right and stop sinning. And this could be like stop hanging out with a certain group of people. And yeah, what I do want to say as well, if you are Christian, you should never reduce your love for Christ to adapt to the needs of the people around you. If you have to dim your light, your Christian light, around certain people, then as I've said before, you need to reevaluate who you're hanging around with, because God didn't call us to conform to the ways of this world. And yes, you might be slightly disliked amongst a group of people, but what is it if you get liked by these people but you're dishonoring God? It may be hard, but I'll be praying for it. If you need prayer for that, comment it down below. But you pray to God about that as well, because it's not good. It might be a daunting experience. You might find it scary. You might want to do things your own way. But remember, scripture says in Proverbs 3:5-6, I'm paraphrasing, but it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not into your own understanding. So keep that in mind. The third thing I want to talk about is my accommodation. So typically students apply for accommodation during May when they know their offers, but I applied for private student accommodation because firstly, I am not sharing the bathroom. You see, my bathroom is clean, it's crisp, it's all of that. I knew I couldn't share it because my hygiene standards and my cleaning standards are quite up there, you know, my home training is there. Some people at uni, I've been to a lot of student houses. And the second thing is because usually with private accommodation, the study spaces are much bigger, much more lengthier. So the table that I have right now is quite lengthy. And I know my friends at uni student halls have a tiny desk and they're basically living in a prison cell whilst I'm living the bougie life, even though this is the cheaper end of private accommodation. However, because I'm in first year, and I'm in private student accommodation, and that my accommodation has no sociable spaces, it has been even harder for me to make friends. And so I would say my experience has been in terms of making friends in my accom. Like, my flatmates are fine, they're okay, I get along with them, like we can coexist in the same place and all of that. But in terms of like friends around me, I haven't really made that many, but the ones I do make, you got my heart. I'll be making a separate video about accommodation choices in first year because I do think there are pros and cons to private student accom, and there is definitely much more of a pro in terms of social events and getting to know people in your first year in uni student accommodation, even though you are living in a prison cell, let's be real, and you're sharing bathrooms and it's just not great. And you're paying so much. And so for my accommodation right now, I'm paying £104 a week, which is relatively cheap because a lot of other student accommodations and uni ones are around 130 to 140. So I'm saving money over here. So the fourth thing I want to talk about is societies and clubs. I would advise you to join at least one society, at least, you hear that, at least, because it's a great way of meeting new people, exploring your interests. A lot of the times, a lot of the societies in your SU will have a give it a go session. This is the case for Cardiff University and for MMA. Also, if you do want to join MMA but you're not sure, be sure to have a go, and I'll give out our go sessions. It will be on our SU page. I'm the social secretary for the MMA club for 2021 to 2022. So you can message me on Instagram about it, or you can message our Instagram page about it and we'll get back to you. And it's just a fun way to explore a hobby. So for MMA, it would be a sport, and you can literally do this for anything else. There are so many clubs and societies that I'm sure that your university has, and it's a great way to relieve stress or focus your mind on other things apart from uni work. and it's a great way to like expand your skill set even. So I would recommend it. First year, especially first term, is a prime time to try everything any society has to offer for you. As I said, give it a go sessions, because you can really filter out what you like and what you don't like if you have no idea what your hobbies and interests are. And it's a great way to get involved for free, especially if it's a give it a go session or for a very small price, like £1 or £2. Worst case scenario, you just don't go back to that society. But I don't want you to go through your first year of university or university experience having not tried a society or having done some sort of activity with a society. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about is uni itself. So Wales is a bit behind with England in terms of COVID restrictions, and when I came to uni, so Cardiff Uni in 2021, so it's October-ish, my lectures were, for my course at least, so for law and criminology, they were online. So my lectures were online and pre-recorded, and so were workshops, and workshops are just guidances for your first year of uni, how to do lectures, how to write essays, all of that. But my seminars were in person, but because I'm doing a joint honours degree, I would be seeing the same 10 to 15 people in my seminar group. But because I am very much an extrovert, I love to meet people, and not meeting that many people in first term was quite isolating. I did feel quite lonely. I was basically going back to London so often, like I was spending so much money on travel. Hopefully second term is so much better than this, because I'm finally having my first in-person lecture on Monday. Can you imagine? But they didn't say 1, they said 3, and they said 9 a.m. starts too, so we're gonna see how that goes. But first term was definitely not ideal in terms of my social life. Basically, from what I'm saying, like no clubbing, no drinking, private student accommodation, you know, and all of that, and just getting swept up with a few of the wrong people, I guess, and so it wasn't the greatest experience. And one thing I do want to say is that just because first year a lot of the time doesn't count towards your final grade, it does not mean that you can chill like I chilled in first term. Like I was chilling so much during first term. Literally after watching a few lectures, I'll just be chilling with my friends or going out or just doing anything but the work I needed to do. And now I'm playing the catch-up game, and I've been playing the catch-up game. So I would not advise you to do that. And usually for first year, you have to pass, you need to get a 40%. Now you would think this is easy, but sometimes it really isn't when your course is content heavy, such as law and criminology or medicine. Like you really can't be playing around. Like yes, you can be chilling, you can be vibing, you can go to social events, but make sure you do all your work before you go to these, man, because you don't want to be playing the catch-up game. Speaking from me, okay? I definitely think that actually being on top of your work in first year develops the skills that you need for second year when it does really count. So be wise with how you spend your time. A trick that my dad told me to treat my uni as a 9 to 5. So that was obviously harder because I was managing my own time. I wasn't going into uni as much because of it being mostly online. But now that I'm going to be going into uni, hopefully I can really treat it like a 9 to 5 and treat it like a job, because your girl is not getting into 18k debt a year. And I said 18k because let's really break it down. It's 9 to 9.5k for tuition fees, which is paid to the university. Then if you're the first in your family, or if you get max student loan, that is 9.9 to 9.5k for your maintenance loan. That's if you're outside of London, and then if you're in London, that's 12.5k. So I'm not getting into 18k minimum debt every year for the next 3 years for me to not be doing this uni work, okay? So get on it. Don't chill and do nothing, because what are you doing to further your life? And it's not great. Like you can't really chill unless you've done work beforehand. So keep that in mind. The last thing I want to talk about is church and community. There are a lot of churches in Cardiff and all of them have very different things to offer. Obviously with church it's a different experience for every single person because you're looking for very different things. Like someone could be looking for a big church, someone could be looking for a family kind of church. But church for me, in terms of church hunting, has been decent. I've narrowed my church choices to 2 churches. I'm still currently deciding, but I'm praying about it heavily because you should plant yourself into a church, and whatever church you plant yourself at should be the church you're like, yeah, this is my church, or like, this is the community I belong to, or whatnot. Churches can usually act as a really strong support system, especially if you're in a sisterhood, which is like a connect group, and it can be very beneficial when you have prayer requests, praise reports, advice, life advice. You just want to chill with them, like go to the beach, play Monopoly, go to Nando's, whatever it is. So I do recommend that you go to a church and check it out. If you're Christian, if you're not, be there or be square, you know. And it's just a lovely place, at least for me and most of the time, for you to be involved and be in a community. So yeah, if you're interested in a church or a community in Wales, especially in Cardiff, and you're looking to come here next year, like next academic year, or you're just here for a visit, let me know in the comments section down below and I'll recommend you some churches or some places to go. But yeah, this is somewhat my overall view of my first term experience. What I would rate it out of 10 is, I would say like a 3 or 4 out of 10, just because it could have been so much better if my course was actually always in person, if I met more people. But hopefully second term, as I've said before, can be so much more different and I can just enjoy my time. So updates will be coming soon. I'll be vlogging and all of that. You already know the vibe. If you want to follow me on this journey, on my law journey to becoming either qualified from like gaining a law degree or becoming a criminal barrister, we'll see what God has in store for me. And I usually just post vlogs, advice, day in the lives, whatever it is. And so I really hope you enjoy my videos, enjoy my content. Be sure to subscribe and I will see you guys in my next vlog or video. Until then, stay safe and God bless.